to the No BS Short-Term Rental Podcast, an unfiltered look into the global vacation and short-term rental industry.
I'm Mateo Bradford.
And I'm John Stokinger.
And this is our podcast. We bring the right people to the table at the right time, giving you an inside view and take on the short-term rental industry like no other podcast can.
Morning, Mateo.
John, good morning.
Another beautiful morning.
Fantastic morning. Welcome, Short-Term Rental Podcast World. Another episode.
Episode 13, man. Like, as of right now, when we're recording this, we're ahead. I guess if we were going to go ahead and look at like the grand scheme of podcast world, like episodes, it's like we're at 985, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a ton. But for us, we have a really targeted, really curated audience, and they're listening, man. I love it. We're going to hit 1,000 today. We're just every week it's growing. I love it.
Progress. I love it too. No, this is the fun part about doing this, right? It's kind of doing it our way, and keeping it authentic. That's all right.
Hey, we're talk to me about those shades. So tell me, and those that aren't watching and are listening, Mateo's rocking some shades. He's extra casual today. So let's talk about that. Where are you recording from?
We are recording from the beautiful, sunny island of St. Martin, on the Dutch side of St. Martin. That
must be nice.
It could be worse. It definitely could be worse. But no. Definitely a blessing to be out here. It takes some downtime, but the show continues. We never stop running, and super psyched about our guest, who we have on today. My good friend, my partner, my fraternity brother, the one and only major U.S. Marine Corps mate, Anthony Gantt of At Ease Rentals Corporation. Yes, the affiliation's there, just to putting a disclaimer out there. So. But no, Anthony, welcome to the show. We are super excited to have you on there. Typically, I would give a brief breakdown of kind of who you are and why you're on the show, and give a little bit of a bio of kind of who where you come from in this space. But as I've learned through talking and being around you, man, nobody can tell your story like you can. And it's a hell of a story that resonates with everyone that hears it, whether they're in the service or in proximity of service members. It really hits home, and it's completely relevant to our industry. And so without further ado, team Anthony Gantt, brother Gantt, sir. Welcome to
Good morning. Mateo, John, thank you for having me on. As you were saying, Mateo, I was just thinking that there are no other two gentlemen that I love to call in this space to get the lowdown and the dirty, and the greatness of like, how should I be doing it? What should I do it? Where should I be looking at? And just trying to establish myself in this space with what I'm doing with At Ease. Thank you for having me on today. But before I get in, I want to bust Mateo's balls real quick. John,
yes.
When we were in Florida, you guys were beating me up because I didn't stay at short-term rental. And guess what Mateo is not doing in St. Martin? He's not supporting the industry, man. He's in a luxury hotel right now. This bastard.
The funny thing, I might have been busting your balls, and Mateo too, but at the same time, there's a time and a place for and there's a time, and truly it's probably not on vacation. My time and place for a hotel is when I'm traveling for work and I'm in and out and I'm coming in and I want someone, if I'm going on vacation with my family, I'm definitely not staying in a luxury hotel for two reasons. A, I can't afford it. I don't know what kind of secret cash Mateo's bringing in, but good for him. And
and both of you know that's not true right now. So that's pretty clear on that.
No, man, I saw the view. It's totally wherever you're staying, it's perfect. Like,
it's beautiful. I agree, John. I love hotels and short-term rentals. And there's a trade-off with both of them, and you just got to know where that trade-off supports your type of travel. So
I got
how we
2
want to do
points
this,
for y'all,
guys?
bro. No. I get to
Go
defend
ahead,
myself.
Mateo. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Defend
hold on. I
yourself
get to
in your
defend
luxury
myself.
hotel.
I got 2 points. Didn't make the reservation, and luxury all inclusive. So
Nothing wrong with that.
So I'm gonna just stick to it right there.
You should have just started with luxury all inclusive, right?
You know, that's Hey,
I mean, I could have guessed with the shades you're wearing.
Yeah, we see it.
We see
look,
it's just oozing luxury.
Yeah. And he put down the shrimp cocktail before we started recording too.
Well, before Anthony jumps in and tells his story, because it's a great story. Mateo teed it up wonderfully. I've got to know Anthony and Mateo quite well over the time. And Anthony's one of the best dudes that you'll ever get to meet. And, you know, as a prior military, it's I'm excited to talk to him. It's crazy to think that you're still active. Like, what the hell? How the hell are you doing it? I can't even imagine the dual life you're trying to run a company and still be active, a Marine, you know, officer, not only, you know, in the Marines, which is absolutely like bewilders me, but, you know, more power to you. I know you're looking at the end of the tunnel here. You're looking to transition here, but one last thing before we get into learning about Anthony is At Ease is a sponsor of this podcast. So we're in, this isn't, he's not on because he's a sponsor of the podcast, but I want to go ahead and put that out there. At Ease supports the No BS Short-Term Rental podcast, and we support At Ease. Like, we support all our sponsors. So I just want to kind of quickly put that out there. Anthony, how did you get into this space?
So, John, I'll answer that question, but I have to go back to what you said, like active duty and starting a business. And one of my mentors here in Austin, he kind of put in perspective for me. He was like, you know, Anthony, anytime someone asks you that question, you let them know this is a damn hobby. He like, a lot of people have hobbies in the military where guys will go play video games, they'll work on a car, they go out and play golf. You're just building a goddamn business. And I was like, you damn right I am. So this is my hobby, right? So I'm spending all of that time that I would to Call of Duty, or to putting a new carburetor in the car, or going out and trying to get a handicap for golf other than golf being my handicap. My hobby is At Ease and building a short-term online travel agency booking platform for federal employees, both military and civilian. So that's how I'm doing that. And the way I got into this is because it was a personal pain point that I felt back in 2018, moving to Austin. As you already know, I told you the story, but for your listeners, I stayed in a short-term rental off one of the popular booking sites that we have here in the US. And let me tell you, it was amazing. My wife was happy, the kids were happy, I was happy. Not only did I save money, because I got a lot of kids, I have 6 kids for the audience, but I also saved the government about $1,200 because I didn't stay in the hotel, which I would have had to get 2 rooms because, again, I have 6 kids. So we had to get the adjoining doors, and I wasn't going cheap. I'm like, Mateo, when I go to a hotel, I go to a hotel, right? So we was going to do the Marriott out of Hyatt. And hey, taxpayers, I was about to blow your budget up myself. Forget what the president does. The Gantt family was coming through like we had our own Secret Service. And just by being able to go to this 5-bedroom, 3,500 square foot in Texas, home in Texas, just blew my mind away that it was going to be about $1,000 to, it was half the cost of what the government would have paid. And I was like, hell yeah, Marine captain at the time, making good decisions for the taxpayers. What? So I literally was saying all of that in my head. I was like happy as hell that I was doing like all of this great stuff. And at the end of the travel, a lot of folks don't know this. The military only helps you move your household goods. That's it. Everybody's like, the military moves you. No. They move my couch, my bed, and my washer and dryer. That's it. Everything else, I'm all responsible for that out of my pocket. They give me a little stipend. They give me a budget that they'll let me play with, which is very healthy, right? It allows you, like I said, I was able to get $290 a day. And I was like, time to get this reimbursement. I just paid $1,500, $1,200. Let me get my money back, young Marine. And the Marine was like, sir, I can't reimburse you. And I was like, yeah, you can. She's like, no, I can't. I was like, all right, Marine. And when you see, you know, it goes from like being very casual, like, hey, good morning, Marine, how you doing? To like, hey, Marine, what are you talking about? Like, get the deep voice, you drop it, and get the little octaves like Barry White going. And she was just like, sir, you used the Airbnb. And I was like, I ain't use no damn Airbnb. I went to the site and got a short-term rental off Airbnb. Airbnb don't have no houses. They was like, sir, you know how everybody always put them together like they're a verb and a noun? I'm like, gotta separate the two. I stayed at a house that I got off this website. So I didn't use the site. I used the house. And she was like, but sir. And I was like, uh-oh, here it goes. Drop the bomb. And she was like, here are the regulations. I was like, hey, go get me someone higher. And John, you'll notice this was a young E3 in the Marine Corps called the Lance Corporal. I think you guys call it a private first class in the Army.
Yeah.
And I said, go get me sergeant, right? E5, I need to talk to an E5 to make this happen. Hey, sergeant. And he's like, hey, sir, you messed up. Like, all right, I need an E6 or higher. Go get me E6. Because, you know, you start going up the ladder.
Right.
I got my railroad tracks on because I'm a captain. And, you know, captains make things happen until the E6 or the E7 come through and they just tell you, hey, sir, you screwed up. But that's not the word she used. He told me I effed up, right? In a very Marine Corps way. And he did it. He did it professionally. He pulled me to the side. He's like, hey, sir, can I talk to you to the side, sir? I'm like, yeah, what's up, staff sergeant? Like, let me get this money, man. I got 12 kids to feed. Really 6, but it feel like 12 when I go grocery shopping. And he was just like, sir, you fucked up, man. Like, excuse you, Marine? Hey, sir, regulations say, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me, staff sergeant. This is some BS. And, you know, I said, I'm a Marine officer. I'm going to change these regulations because this is some BS in 2018 that we can't use short-term accommodations. And lo and behold, I went and started writing notes and emails to people up in the higher position. And I was like, what's your rank again? And I was like, captain. And I was like, yeah, shut up. And I was like, damn, that's brutal. And then one of the persons felt bad for me because he's a retired Army Sergeant Major. They're like, hey, sir. But he's the director now, right? Hey, sir. I'm like, hey, I should be calling you, sir, but whatever. We're going to let this email slide. I want you to check out these guys. They have a conference in DC. I'm going to go ahead and connect you with them. 1 connection to 2, to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5. They say, come to DC if you can. I put in leave. I think civilians call it PTO, paid time off. I think that's what it stands for. I put in some leave. I went to DC for like 72 hours. I sat in a room with some smart people who are in charge of government travel. I told them what idea I had. And they said, oh, we like it, but we're not going to say we're going to endorse it, but we like it. And if you make it work, this is how you should do it. And I was like, what? And then I came back and built the site and just been rocking and rolling ever since then. That was in 2019.
Nice.
But the most important thing you should ask me, John, is did I get reimbursed yet?
I already know the answer.
Hell no.
I know the answer.
I'm trying to get my $1,200.
The funny thing is, like, I've never been reimbursed for like a GI Bill thing I did. I should be getting $1,200 back for getting my degree.
You should.
And I can't. It's like, it's just one of those things, just like that. You're never going to see that $1,200, Anthony. So just, you're okay. It's just
I'm okay. I'm sucking it up. It's helping me create a company. It goes into a vortex of we owe you money, but we ain't giving it to you. That's what it's called, the vortex.
It's that mindset, you know, is it worth fighting for? You know, I've already tried so many times to go ahead and get this. And then the longer you try, you're like, I've put more hours in trying to get $1,200 back than it's even worth it. You know, it is what it is. Dude, that's an amazing story. I mean, of course I've heard the story and obviously Mateo knows the story. I just think it's absolutely, you know, crazy that it's taken so long for alternate accommodations to be recognized. And it's still truly, is it fully recognized yet? I mean, talk to us about that. I mean, what does that look like? And like, how does, okay, I'm still active, right? I'm looking, you know, I want to go stay in an Airbnb today. Airbnb, listen to me. I'm talking like a. I want to go stay at a short-term rental today, right? And I want it reimbursed. Can I do it today, or is it in the future?
Not unless you come to at ease. Not unless you come to at ease. That's the biggest thing. You got to come to at ease. Now, you know, Airbnb is welcome to give me a couple $1 million right now, like 75, and I'll help them, right? 75 million. And you listen to Airbnb, folks, and I'll help them make this something that they can do. But until then, at ease is the only source. And I don't want to be on the podcast selling at ease like that, but Service members, no, they're kind of reduced to going to hotels. And here's the interesting thing about this, John. It's not just short-term rentals that are, and the booking, it's more so the booking platforms than anything, but hotels are also off limits. So you have to go to the right hotel. So what we're doing is we're working with every accommodation and making it available to federal employees traveling on official orders, not just short-term rentals. And I know most people are gonna beat me up and like, I thought you were just in the short-term space. No, I'm in the space of helping people like me, people like you, John, whether you're active duty, veteran, or retiree. I want you to know that you can come somewhere, speak the same language. We can say frickin' frick, like PFC, Lance Corporal, Sergeant First Class, and I understand that you understand it. And it's just like a cultural of understanding. I've been indoctrinating Mateo. He's starting to speak real good military right now. Lately, he got more F-bombs being dropped, so you know that's pretty awesome.
I think anyone that knows me knows that I'm not allergic to the F-bomb or any other adjectives and verbs that you know, those excitable adjectives and verbs. But you know, so I definitely feel right at home in the culture. I'll put it right.
Yeah, John, you'll be proud of him if you came to an event with veterans.
I mean, truly, I'm proud of Mateo every time I talk to him. But yeah, I'm excited to see. Well, I'd love to, you know, I'm looking forward to an event someday that I can kind of, you know, piggyback along and I miss. There's certain aspects of military life that I miss. Truly, not most of it.
Yeah, not the field, not the duty, all that crazy.
Yeah, but I miss the camaraderie. I miss that brotherhood, sisterhood. I miss that aspect of it. You know, I miss. There's lots that I do. I miss that. You know, you set out to get a task done, and it always gets done, no matter what. And that's amazing. Too. You know, that's some really really cool stuff. But I want to touch on something that Mateo mentioned, the culture and more of the culture, talking the culture of the military, but I want to talk about, and I know Mateo, we wanted to talk about this, talk about what it's like. And since this is a culture, you know, our focus on the no bullshit short-term rental podcast is news and culture in our space. Talk to me as a Black entrepreneur in the short-term rental space. What has that been like? You know, what is it like coming in? Like what has been amazing? What has been like eye-opening as like a what the fuck? Like what is it like in our space? Because and if we're being very transparent here, which we are in this show, is like if I were to go ahead and look at vacation rentals with just like step out, I don't work in it, I'm looking at it, I look at it. There's new money now, but it started off 20 years ago, a bunch of old money. It's a predominantly white space. Go to any conference, look around, it's predominantly white. It is, I think there is, and it's growing more and more and more. There's a pretty equal, there's a great representation of female, CEOs, high level, C-level execs, owners, you know, high level execs that are female. But talk to me about being a Black man in our space. Talk to me about, or talk to us about, or just you know, talk to us about it a little bit.
So John, that's a great question. So I'll start with the good and then I'll get to the WTF part of it. I met people like yourself who have asked questions, the hard questions like, what is this cultural appropriation? You even put together a panel, Mateo, Nina, Michelle, and I think Michelle's brother, I can't remember his name right. Jonathan.
Yeah.
Right.
Jonathan,
and we were able to,
Risha.
Yeah, Risha, yeah. I forgot Risha. And we were able to come together and just be very candid about our experiences and talk about the topic. And then I have people who not only mentor me, but also sponsor me. I'll drop names, right? I'm in Austin, Texas. Home Away was started here. So Brian Sharples, who was one of the co-founders and the former CEO of Home Away, his partner, shout out to Brian, who not only mentors and spends hours with me texting and asking how things going, but he also made introductions. That's the sponsorship aspect of things, right? Someone in his position looking at me and say, hey, this guy doesn't have his head up his ass. He's actually doing something worthwhile. Let me connect him to my network. And then he introduced me to the godfather of short-term rentals, which I heard somebody call him that at the last conference, was Carl Shepard. Carl Shepard spends time with me. We go out, get some coffee, email back and forth. Great mentor slash sponsor. Mateo introducing me to people like Steve Milo. Steve getting on the phone and dropping some knowledge, right? Which is always very candid. So I enjoyed that conversation. Talking to folks like Amy, what's Amy's last name? I know. Mm-hmm. And then we got Debbie out in Portland, who started the podcast after coming to that same panel that you had, John. So those are the goods, right? You have people who are on the other side of the ethnic fence that look more like you and less like me, or saying, "Hey, Anthony, I had no idea that." Matt Landau is another one. I had no idea, man. Like, I'm sorry, I've been in the bubble. I got a great bubble, but I want to help. And how can I help? And that's like, just be open, just be receptive, right? Then you got other people who look at you and they got that, God damn, what are you doing here type of mentality. And I'm like, bitch, I'm here because I'm the fucking man. I'm a United States Marine and I deserve to be here. One, because I provided you fucking freedom to be here. And two, because I provided you motherfucking freedom to be here. And a lot of people not gonna like me saying that, but shit, I don't put a lot on the line, i.e. my life in multiple combat zones and multiple hostile areas for anybody to tell me that I can't be in a space in fucking America, right? God damn it, I am America. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I've stood on footprints to go to boot camp, and then I stood on footprints to go to officer candidate school. I've bled, sweat, and had tears for this country. So I'll be damned if somebody tell me I don't belong in the space. Now, in that same token, it's been a little bit more challenging because people like it's a great idea. And I see some other stupid ass ideas that get support, i.e. funding, or people want to jump on the bandwagon and they go very far. When they'll say, hey, this is a good idea, I need to see more traction. And so I give them traction, and then they say they want to see more traction, to where I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna stop asking for support and resources, and I'm just gonna make this shit happen on my own, because that's what the military teaches you do. It says, okay, put on your boots, tie them, and get out there and fucking run this race. And that's where we're at right now. So it's a lot harder than I think some of my counterparts have experienced. Hell, I've even talked to some of my counterparts, and they're like, man, that's bullshit. And I was like, hey, I just got to truck through the bullshit until I get to the other side. And it's just going to make me stronger, make me better. So that's the sad part about the industry. Like you said, at the conferences, it's predominantly white, but that's okay. That's why I'm in the space. I think the last conference we went to in Florida, it was Mateo and I that were in the conference as attendees, and the other Black guys we saw there, they were working for one of the companies represented as exhibitors. So it was 4 total in a total space, right? And I was like, God damn, this shit is bad. I could see why they was talking about diversity, inclusive, and what's the other one? I always forget, Mateo, DEI. What's the E for? Equity. Yeah, they throw that extra E in. I always forget it.
Equity and inclusion. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, equity and inclusion. So I was like, holy smokes! I see what, because we've been on these calls with people, but this was the first time that I got to see it and experience firsthand, and it was just surprising. Very, very surprising.
And it's interesting because Anthony, like, coming and again, I think, to tail in also John's questions too. It's just like, it's one thing to hear about these things, and we talk about equity and inclusion, right? Equity is being invited to the table, right? And the inclusion part is actually participating, right? Or people say, hey, equity is being invited to the dance, and inclusion is being asked to dance, or whatever that they choose to kind of define that. And from even from my perspective, like, I didn't realize what Black founders and other people go through until I've been, in this journey with you, right? And been in these rooms and hearing the questions that investors ask. And we talk about it all, you and I go back and forth about it all the time, because it's part of the driving mantra of, like, when we put our heads down and, like, why is it important that we do this? And why is it important that when we're talking about, equity, inclusion with Black founders and other things, like, I don't think people realize, outside of their bubbles, why the need for this. It's and it wasn't until the investors or investor coaches, like, were telling us, like, at the end of the day, that people just, and really we're blatant and just saying, people don't really care at the end of the day. They just want to know, essentially, when they look at people like us, what are these 2 Black guys going to do? And that's what they've
Yeah.
actually said. They verbalized that out of their mouth. And I've told the story a couple times, but it's true, because that was the gut punch and the chest punch for me that really separated like why it's important to have these conversations. Why is it important to really understand what this set of founders go up against that others don't? And again, it's just not for us. I'm sure other groups as well. I'm sure women founders and others go through their own set. But the reason that these conversations are important, and specifically for our experience and being able to talk about like where you came from and seeing it in this space, is that it's alive, it's happening, and it's really things that we have to deal with that others don't. That really propel the need for us to have these conversations about, are things really equitable? Are we really looking across the board? And the things that we have to kind of fight through. Because in being honest, like when we look at how Marines do things, and one of the things I've always noticed in terms of working with you and working with others is that there's that precision and discipline and organization that I've seen in at ease that other companies haven't had, that have had more opportunities and are more successful and are more funded. And they don't have half of the data. They don't have half of the organization. They don't have half of this infrastructure in place. They don't have half of the traction in place. And people are throwing ridiculous amounts of money at them.
That's what's
okay,
most.
Mateo.
Why is that?
That's
okay.
what's the most like messed up thing about all this. And I've heard this story that talk to me. If you could have the same exact idea with the same exact thing side by side, and you can have you and Anthony and Mateo pitch in this idea for at ease, and then you can have a white two white men pitch in the same idea, everything exact the same, and investors are more apt to go ahead and give a different evaluation based on skin color. And that's
not only that, it's messed up, but they also have they're culturally comfortable with it because they're not looking at someone who's not them. They're looking at themselves on the other end of the table. But as messed up as it is, John, I fucking love it, because one thing that you don't do to me as a United States Marine, whether now or later, when I retire and transition out, is you tell me I can't do something. That is the one thing you don't do, right? I had a gunnery sergeant who's an E7 in the Marine Corps when I was an E4 corporal tell me I wasn't going to be great at something I was going to do. It was a tank commander. And he put so much fucking fuel in my goddamn jet that I had that bitch on afterburners for 4 years afterwards. And that's how I became an officer. So now, right now, when I heard that fucking dude tell me, hey, what are two black guys going to do? I was like, you just fucked up because you just opened up a box that Pandora can't even fuck with, right? Fuck Pandora's box. You opened up the Gantt box. Then when I hear people telling me, hey, we really like this and we want to give you only X amount of dollars, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You want to give me, I know it sounds bad, but I was like, I fucking wipe my ass with that, right? Because I know what you should be giving me and what you're not giving me based on your perceptions of who I am. And I'm like, frankly, I'm about to fucking blow this shit up. And I'm gonna show you motherfuckers how well I'm blowing it up. I'm upset and I'm passionate about it because it is fuel in the tank that's gonna show these fuckers what we can do as two black dudes. And then whoever the team is, and I hate that I have to keep saying that, or that Mateo and I are saying it, but that's what we were told. And one of the bases for the company, and Mateo was talking about the foundation, I said, we're going to be an all welcoming company and we're going to be based on merit. So I don't give a fuck what you look like, who you sleep with, what your religion is. I don't give a fuck. Come to the company, show up, show out, and let's go. Work the task, not the time, which means get your shit done. And that's what we're going to do. And that's what we're about. And that's the bullshit that I see in short-term rental spaces or different industries, that people talk a good talk, but they're not walking a walk. They want to fucking get on these high horses and just do. I'm like Richard from Silicon Valley, right? He made Pied Piper. Pied Piper was just the fucking work. And then you had these other guys trying to make these compression systems and they wanted to have the parties and fucking get the raises, but they weren't producing, right? So I'm more in line with Pied Piper and just making the shit work and produce than all this other fucking fame and fortune and stuff. And people hate Mayweather because he's a flashy motherfucker, but Mayweather gets in the gym and he works and he works and he's very methodical. And that's what we're going to do. We're not going to be as flashy as him because he's too fucking flashy. But when we get in this gym,
you're not getting any money hats.
No money hats.
No money team hats over here. Unless it's money team investment going into the company.
Yeah, now money team wants to invest in us, that's different. We'll get a fucking money team at ease hat all day. But until then, we're just gonna get in the gym, and it's the entrepreneurship gym, and we're gonna wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're gonna get in there and we're gonna practice. I got a good buddy who has a company. He's a Marine as well. His thing is process over the prize. Process over the prize. Our focus is the process. We make sure that everything is always right, legally, financially, operationally, and we fucking gonna make this shit happen. So it's bullshit that goes along with it, but fuck it.
Let's be really clear here to the listeners that, you know, it is. I don't think Anthony and Mateo, we're definitely not, you know, slamming our space as in the beginning.
No, at all.
Every space.
It's every space.
It's every space out there, and it's just, this is your experience and coming from your culture, and again, it's not just, you're dealing with investors, which is a whole different animal too. There's a ton of us here in like, I have no background with VC or anything. I can't talk the lingo. I don't know anything about it. I know what it is. That's about it. And there's a lot of people in our space that don't, you know, again, they're come in, they build up their business. It's a family business. They're doing this, and they've gone from, you know, 2 or 3, you know, side rentals that they're doing. They're pushing through Airbnb and through Verbo. And then next thing you know, they're at 20, and next thing you know, they're a property management company. And next thing you know, they've gotten to where they got, and they've been very successful, and it's all been bootstrapped. But you're coming in as a channel, as coming in as a booking option,
right?
You can't just bootstrap this.
No, it's fucking hard. It's expensive too.
Still get there isn't a path that is less than 20 years long to get noticed and actually be successful, that doesn't have some financial backing coming in, because you have to think about marketing. I mean, I couldn't even imagine the marketing. Like, how do you go ahead and get this out in front of people? You know, great. You know, you got the government backing you, but who gives a shit? In the end of the day, like, they're not marketing you
at all, right?
And they never will
at all.
And so there's so many complex things that, you know, that I am just, even now, just in this conversation, talking with you, and I'm like, there's different things going through my head that I've never even thought about. Challenges outside of you being a Black-owned business.
It's a hard, but building a channel was difficult. That's why you only hear like 2 or 3 exist right now, right? You got the niche ones, but what we're doing is like making a very custom to the audience platform. And as good as a nerd I like to call myself, because I got an engineering degree in electrical engineering, a little bit of computer, my zeros and ones had a limit, because I've been doing Marine Corps for so long. So I was like, holy crap, I can't get past this coding issue I'm having. Let me go figure out who can help me that can code. I was getting bids for $30,000, $50,000, $75,000, $142,000 to build a website. And I was like, holy shit, I was looking to just pay 10 grand. These motherfuckers are out of their mind, right? But that's the necessary evil that exists. And like you said, the capital that goes into it, just the website alone. And then I'm in Austin, Texas, right? Everybody's seeing what's going on with Austin. You got Tesla moving, you got Google, Facebook, Samsung trying to build another, Apple got $1 billion campus. Those are engineers that I cannot afford. But I got to compete with those same people in my backyard to say, hey, I got a really good idea. I need you to come help me build it. But I can't pay you like they pay you, nor will I give you any benefits like they give you benefits. But this shit is fucking cool, and it's gonna help a lot of people out. And they're like, yeah, nah, I'm gonna pass. I can't tell you how many dudes I've had given free Dos Equis to, because I figured tech guys like to drink. So I'm like, yeah, let's go out and get some Dos Equis. I got this little spot in Austin that I like to go to. They military discounts $2 beer, so I'm okay with the $2 beer. And then a lot of tech dudes are passing, man. I'm like, God damn it, I thought you guys had ethics and wanted to work for something that was great. They was like, nah, I like to get paid too. Get the hell out of here.
Well, you know.
So it's, yeah, they got to eat. So I'm not upset about that, but it's hard as shit. To your point,
Anthony, you're not the
like
only one. You're not the only one that has a lot of kids.
You're right about that.
I don't know. He's got a starting 5 and 1 on the bench. So like,
Yeah.
there's a lot.
But remember, we met that guy in Virginia who taught me with 7. I was kind of upset. Every time somebody says they have 7 or 8 kids, I'm like, come on, man, you just couldn't let me live. You just couldn't let me be great.
I'm cool with 4. We're good with 4.
Look, last night, my daughter came in the room, was telling me she needed a sister. And I was like, whoa, chill with that. So she was like, no, we can adopt. I don't want to be baby girl no more. And I was like, all right, if I adopt 1, I'm adopting 10. So I said, I'm going to have 16 kids. And she's like, oh, no, daddy. No, don't get 10. Just get 6. And I said, why 6? And she was like, so each one of us can have somebody that is like our, who we're responsible for. I was like, let's get 12 so you can be responsible for 2. But back to short-term rental podcast, no bullshit.
Well, Anthony, one of the things that I in my experience working with you and that I appreciate is, and something, that I think goes back to kind of our fraternal roots of bridge building, right? Mm-hmm. And that concept of bridge building. And one of the things that, we don't really talk about is that you do that, in terms of everything that you're going through and everything that you're doing and everything that you're processing with that ease. You still volunteer with Bunker Labs. Like I always see you with your hand back. Like I always see you reaching back, and I do see, everything that you're kind of going through is followed up with, hey, you're always volunteering to talk to young founders of all sorts. You're always volunteering with these organizations, and you're always actively kind of reaching, backwards to kind of make the road easier for those who, are charting this path as well. Like talk to me a little bit about that. Talk to our audience a little bit about that, because I think that's an important part of also your story and your journey and change. And right. And even through what we're building it at ease and how we're building something that's culturally changing, what channels and what business in this space is.
So that's a great point you bring out, Mateo. I wanted to fill a void since I did decide to retire out the military. I know I'm only 41. I joined the military not knowing that I was going to fall in love with service. Hence the reason I joined our fraternity, because it's about service to the community. And I was looking for something to fill that void as I transitioned out, knowing that At Ease is created to serve people, but I wanted to still do other things that didn't come with a dollar price, like volunteer my time, because I think time is the most valuable resource that we have. And that's why when Bunker Labs gave me the opportunity to be a part of their cohort as veteran residents in 2019, I said, how can I continue to give support back to Bunker Labs for what they've given me? And I became a volunteer with them. And it's because I have people like you. I have people like John. Like John and I got on a call, 2 weeks ago for an hour? And we just did sales sparring, right? He was like, what if this happens? How is this going to go? What's this? That's him giving back to me, right? He's paying it forward by giving me his experience and some of the things I should think, some of the ways I should think, and some of the things I should think about saying. So it'd be selfish of me not to do the same thing that people like you were doing, people like John, people like Sharples, people like Shepard, and all these Steve Milo and Amy and Debbie and all these people who are reaching out, and Michelle and Margaret, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
From Hostfully, Cliff and Mickey, all these folks, right, on the short-term rental space, right, that are reaching back and saying, hey, Anthony, have you thought about this? And I go, no, because I don't even know what the fuck that is. So when they do that to me, I have to pay it forward. I love that movie, Pay It Forward. I think it's one of the things that we as people should do, because you really get the most satisfaction from life when you're helping someone else, whether that's your spouse, your family member, your child, or a complete stranger. When we help others genuinely not expecting anything in return, it gives us the most fulfillment. And I get fulfilled by reaching back and helping these other entrepreneurs. Because like you said, Mateo, I'm methodical with the way I run things, but that's because I fucked up so many times. Like at the beginning, in 2018 to 2019, man, my shit was all over the place. I had fucking white napkins and receipts that I've written on. And I was like, this, I can't function like this. And I got Google, and I was like, let me just put it. Well, first I had Outlook, and that was too expensive. I couldn't afford that. So I went to the free stuff. And then I've been freeing it up on Google in the Google Drive. And that's how I got like structured like that. So when I see someone else where I was, I immediately come in and say, hey, You don't want to do it that way. I'll let you if you tell me shut up. But let me tell you what I had to go through and what pain points I had to fix. So if you're out there as an entrepreneur and you've gotten some kind of like experience and you've been through the gauntlet and you're still going through it, I think it's a shame on you if you don't reach back and help people. I got one founder here in Austin, raised a couple hundreds of millions of dollars, and he took the time to sit with me and tell me what kind of developers I should look for, how to find the right developers. Right. I was like I said, my roof and ceiling for being a tech nerd is right here. His is much higher. So he was like, I see you're a tech nerd, but you're like a tech novice nerd. Come over here with the pros. And that's important.
If you're there, I'm in the if you're there, I'm in the basement. But no, I think that's an important part of, it is one of the things I love about this industry too, is, I still feel like I'm super young in this industry, and I've been able to be around amazing people that have, taken that bridge builder concept. And if again, the bridge builder concept is just, being able to build something that somebody else can follow behind, helping people navigate pitfalls that you've gone through so they don't have to go through them. That's the basic concept of that space. And it's one of the things I love about the industry. These are people that, I've had so many people in my short time in this space be able to help me tremendously. And, whether it was through conversations, whether it was through me, digging in and asking questions, I think it is the beautiful part of our industry and part of hospitality, right? It's human, it's relationships, it's that interaction. And I think what makes us different from other industries is, yes, competitive, but it's not cannibalistic, to a certain extent. Like I'm not going to talk to him because I want him to fail. No, it's like, hey, what's your business doing? What are you doing in this space? How does it work? Like, I've found those doors to be open. And, and again, and I think seeing kind of what you do in that space is really helped, kind of you in the space as well, reach out and get, Sharples and get Shepherd and the others to help in this and really engage above and beyond, your product in its space, but also kind of, build what the future is going to look like. Right, because that's really, what the bridge builder, concept is really, and why that's so important, because it's building what the future of this space is going to look like.
John, you familiar with that poem? It's called The Bridge Builder by Will Allen Drungle, and I love the poem because it was written by a woman who faked herself as a male, because during that time women were not allowed to write. Right. Yep. So that just talks about the grit and the perseverance of a kinship spirit who wants to make things great, for her to still write that poem. And I'll read I'll tell you the last stanza of that part, where it said, like, basically the old man going across this river, they call it a chasm. It was at night and he passed through it. Then he came back and he built the bridge. Then somebody's like, hey, old man, why are you building this bridge over here? And he was like, they were like, you already passed through it. Like, you don't have to build a bridge. You're not coming back this way anymore. And he's like, you're right. I'm not coming back through this river, but there's going to be someone who comes after me that's younger, and they're going to come at night. And the river that was rough and choppy for me, even though I made it through, it may be something catastrophic for that person. I'm building this bridge for them so they don't have to go through what I went through and experience something much worse off than I experienced. Phenomenal poem. Phenomenal. I said the bridge.
I'm gonna find a link to it, and I'm gonna put
I got a link.
The website.
Ready.
It's a phenomenal we're gonna come up with a bridge builder award. Yeah, actually, now I'm thinking about it. Actually, that's something I think we should do. We're gonna come up with a bridge builder award, because and the more I think about it, it's there's some great bridge builders in this space. You think of Vanessa from Reynolds United.
She's amazing.
And Amy with the creating the women's conference in that space to empower and create and ensure space for women in this industry at every level. Like there's some things that have been done. We got a lot of work to do, but there are things that have been done and people who have been building bridges in this space.
We'll get John the first one, Mateo. You gotta get John the first one for putting that panel together, because that was because think about it, man. John, I have it to people listening to your podcast, all 950 plus that's about to get to 1,500 next month.
You
because
guys don't
you're on, right?
understand.
Is it
Of
because
course,
you're on
that's
here?
right. Because I'm
Right.
on. I'm bringing you 600 extra people, all of my kids. All the kids are subscribing today on all of their tablets and devices.
Right.
But at the height of race tensions since the 60s in the US, you took a stand to build a bridge between our American people. And I love that because you saw that we're all Americans, minus the pigmentation of our skin. And you said we have to start a conversation. It's going to be a difficult conversation, but we have to have it. And it was at a pivotal point. And I was like, man, this is some fucking risky shit. And I love John for it because like you put a lot on the line for it. But it came out successfully. And you build a bridge that wasn't even being thought about being built. So I think you should get the first Bridge Builder Award. That's my opinion. But Mateo, it's your Bridge Builder Award.
No, I agree. And look, and I'll take it a step further because John fought very hard to ensure that we can follow up in this space too. And I don't know if we're supposed to say anything about it, but we will be doing it again. We will be doing this again at BRMA International in San Antonio. So John and I will be moderating it. We'll be moderating another great panel and continuing the conversation because with our industry, I think a lot of people don't understand. And me, what I found is that having conversations with people, and not just people you agree with, not with people you have the same ideology with, but just having a conversation that's rooted in respect, that's rooted in understanding, the same understanding that you would want to have, and giving that same understanding, I think goes a long way. And I think, Sean, our ability to start that conversation was great, but John pushing also to make sure that we could follow up and do some other things within that space as well. And, because of that, we're also we're going to be doing a DEI workshop at the BRMA as well. There's going to be a pre-show workshop that we'll be, giving some more information about shortly. We just got the go-ahead for that as the DEI subcommittee. We'll be putting some information out about that shortly. So we're going to blast that out. We want to make sure it's accessible. Yeah, we want to make sure it's accessible because, and that's what it is. And shout out to VRMA for making sure that we have the platform and the ability to do this. And shout out to all of the VRMA members and others who have been anxiously waiting. Honestly, the follow-up has been there, and they've been wanting to follow up, and people from across the industry that have been wanting to get in, do the work, and say, hey, how do we do this? How do we make this change? We're ready to help, and so we're very excited about that. So shout out to Margot, my co-chair in that space, and to all of those on the membership committees, the VRMA board, and the others who have been fighting to get this on the agenda. And it is on the agenda, and so we're going to have two great events at the International Conference in San Antonio in October, and we're really looking forward to that. On top of, we're also going to be doing the Short Term Rental Podcast live from VRMA and some other conferences as well.
Nice, that's awesome.
Audience. You might even see us in a few weeks. Just nice.
Might even see us in a few weeks. Absolutely.
Are you talking South Carolina?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna rock it.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure it out.
All right.
We're just gonna post shop right in the lobby.
We don't need much, man. Look.
Yeah, that's it. Post up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's just conversations that have been needing to be had for a long time. A super quick update too on top of it's a continuation of our first conversation is what we're doing, but the nice thing is Mateo and I are going to co-moderate, and we have the panel has changed a little bit, but for the better. We went ahead and we're getting we have LGBTQ plus is going to be represented. We're going to have we're going to have a white panelist on, so we're going to have full spectrum.
That's what we missed last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna put him on blast. My boy, my good friend, and my ideologically opposed at times friend, A great individual, love him to death. He's my brother. I actually one of the people I learned a lot from when I first got into the industry is Michael Golden from Noise World will be joining us on that panel as well. So
Nice,
put that
good.
out there. Yeah, happy to have him on. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, it's come to an end here. We're gonna have to wrap this podcast up. I appreciate Anthony you jumping on with us, man. I want to quickly before if you're a property manager or you're a hotelier or you are you have a few units. I mean, you want to go ahead and reach a different clientele. You want to go ahead and put your availability out to government travel, please reach out to Anthony at Ease. At Ease is a sponsor of the podcast, but so there's going to be links and how to go ahead and get a hold of Anthony. It's a great way to diversify your portfolio and what you're putting out there to everyone. So I encourage you to go ahead and check it out. This bubble we're in where you have unlimited resources for guests, it will pop at some point. And you're going to be looking, the more and more people come into the space, right now, I mean, the interesting thing, I'm looking at all these different threads I follow, hey, we had an amazing June, July, and halfway through August we're booked solid. And then it stops. Well, okay. Well, a great point was brought up earlier is like military travel, isn't, their vacations aren't necessarily when one would think a vacation happens. It's whenever the government says they're able to take a vacation. Their time off, their leave is different. So, and it's not just vacations. It's, there's some long-term, aspects of it. There's some, transition from one base to another. So there's so many different opportunities. This is me doing a little commercial for Anthony and Addie's.
Thank you.
I'd encourage you to go ahead and at least check it out, because I think it would behoove you to do so. That's my
I think so.
New
He
channel,
said
new revenue stream, new
that's
traveler.
that military word right there. It behooves you. Everybody's like, behoove. Pick up a dictionary, people. Behoove is a great word. And that's something that we learn in the military. It's your duty or responsibility to want to host these service members and government employees, right? They do so much for our country, and then they don't get paid half as much as they should for what they do. So yeah, let's show some love to the people that's serving us.
Hey,
with that ease.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, John. Mateo, it's been a pleasure. I can talk to you guys all day and every day.